A new soccer game is coming this fall. Okay, no one's surprised. Electronic Arts is back with Esports FC 25, which will arrive in a few weeks. It's been a few years now since the FIFA name was lost, but we're still using the same license with basically the same basics. It was announced not too long ago, so we have a lot of information about it, but we also got to play it early, so this is the perfect opportunity to tell you about it. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to capture any gameplay, so you'll only see official images. Here we go. Let's take a look at this new episode. Esports FC 25. I think you're familiar with the license, so I won't dwell on the main points. Instead, I'll focus on the additions and changes. This year, the main focus will be two new features, Rush Mode and FCIQ technology. I'll start with this new Rush game mode. You can also expect to no longer see Volta mode because it was simply removed. I imagine it never really caught on with players. Rush mode will allow us to play 5 versus 5, but on a smaller pitch. It's somewhat similar to what we found in Volta. Matches will last 8 minutes, with overtime with a golden goal at 2:30. This mode will also feature the introduction of blue cards. Basically, if one of your players receives 2 yellow cards from the referee, they will be sent off for 1 minute before being allowed back into the team. Fouls committed near the penalty area will result in indirect free kicks, and of course, penalties may be awarded. What's more, offside will be reflected by an offensive line. So if the opposing player crosses it at the wrong time, they'll be caught in the offside trap. This is one of the modes we tried, and frankly, I have to admit we had a blast. It's fun, quite addictive, and much more refreshing than Volta. It also relies on the use of each player's playstyle, and it offers a slightly more arcade-like feel that's really nice. The icing on the cake is that this game mode will be grafted onto all existing ones, meaning you can play a match in Rush mode in Kickoff, Career, Ultimate Team, and Club. It's true it's a shame to have lost Volta, but we have to admit that this new mode is pretty cool. Now we'll see if it'll be fun for 2 to 3 matches, or if it's engaging enough to keep us on the edge of our seats. Obviously, the main attraction here is that we'll be able to play with 3 other real players, while the goalkeeper is controlled by AI. The other new feature is the introduction of FCEQ. This is simply the tactics system that has been completely overhauled. Thanks to Opta, data from the last 2 years has been collected. The goal is to get closer to the reality of each player's statistics. The result is absolutely immense possibilities in terms of tactics. First, you'll be able to choose your basic tactic, so attacking 4-3-3, 4-4, 2 diamond, etc. But also your playing style, so counter-attacking, balanced, and so on, and the defensive approach, which will push your team up or push it down to put pressure on the opponent. So it's still basic, but with a redesigned and much more user-friendly interface, especially for changing your players before the match. The big new feature will be the ability to assign roles to your players. No fewer than 50 roles will be available at launch, and each player will be able to have one in addition to a focus. In other words, a Bruins Kevin can be assigned a choice of playmaker or support forward, depending on your preferences, while focusing on a balanced play style or simply going all out on offense and thus utilizing the playing space. This can allow you to completely tailor your tactics to your own needs, which could make the gaming experience more flexible and therefore more satisfying. Note that it will be possible to create up to 5 customizable tactics with the option to share them with your friends. And clearly with this new feature, Electronic Arts seems to be hitting the mark. Obviously, this remains to be confirmed because it's true the franchise is often criticized, and you know that every year I don't hesitate to point out what's wrong, and there are often things that aren't right. But when there are also good ideas, well, that has to be said too. So, Rush Mode and FCEQ seem to be the 2 main focuses of the year. But of course, alongside them, we'll find the series' other usual modes, with a few minor changes. Career Mode, for example, will add a system called Live Start Points for Manager Mode. In other words, current football news will be implemented into the game, which will offer fresh content all year round. Waiting to see if this will be truly solid in the long term, there's plenty to intrigue a football manager. Women's football will also take on a more prominent role. From now on, it will be possible to coach a women's club among 4 major women's football leagues: the Bundesliga, the DR Kema, the AF League, and the Barclays Women's Super League. This is good news, as will the legendary Women's Champions League, which will be an integral part of it. Continuing with career mode, yes, there will be improvements to scouting and young players. We also have a new interface, a bit more in the social media format, with transfer announcements via a renowned journalist like Fabrice Romano, and there will be more than 160 countries in which you can scout your future prodigies. And yes, that's a big number, especially since you'll be able to help them progress via rush mode, which will also be present in this career mode. And to stay with the career, you'll have the opportunity to play with stars like Beckham or Pirlo, or to create a player in your own image. You'll be able to use AI technology that accurately models your character while choosing their origin story. Yeah, it's just to give them a bit of background. Small additions, but still welcome, given that Electronic Arts has always been lazy with this career mode. Well, obviously, it's not a major overhaul either, and again, we'll see when it's released. Veteran modes like Ultimate Team will also get a makeover. Okay, so Rush mode is being added, but also a slightly clearer interface. The division system will be fairer, both in friendly matches and in rivals mode, and players will be better rewarded, for example after a draw. Rush points will also be added. They'll be useful for earning rewards. It remains to be seen how this will be balanced in practice in the full game. Club mode will also get a slight overhaul, more immersion, especially with the Clubhouse tab. This interface allows access to your team's locker room. Here you'll have locker room customization options, as well as a store to buy whatever you like. Basically, a social interface to meet up with friends and prepare to face your future opponents. Aside from that, there's also the addition of a relegation system for traditional 11 versus 11 matches, as well as a management aspect. Indeed, club mode will add a club setup system, which with a budget allocated to you and which increases based on your performance, will give you the opportunity to purchase upgrades that will have a significant impact on your players. A great way to boost your player and those of your friends in the club you've created. Now, I'm going to talk a little about the gameplay, and we're sticking to the same basics, even if for now, I admit that we had a really nice feeling. Whether it's the game speed, the new animations, the feel, the improved ball physics, the defense, the goalkeepers, everything seems more enjoyable than in FC24. Yeah, the FCIQ system must have something to do with it, and the dribbling system has also been tweaked. The animations are also more natural, and the overpowering shot has been reduced. The contact also commands respect, whether in men's or women's football. The same goes for the refereeing, which so far hasn't seemed too silly. However, when it comes to penalties, corners, and the scrimmage, nothing to report, it's exactly the same. Electronic Arts also promises an influence on the ball's trajectory, with the wind potentially having an impact, but also other animations, where players can slip due to weather conditions. It's still a gimmick, and we'll have to see if it's really useful. But in any case, it could improve immersion a little. It's an option that can apparently be disabled. It's also worth noting that we'll have a new first-person camera for the player's point of view, a bit like last year's first-person camera for the referee. Well, as for the gameplay, I won't dwell on it too much. There's no point in me talking about my opinion at too much length because, well, honestly, it's true. We had more fun with this session than with FC24. But like every year, well, we have to wait for the release because we're not immune to bad news. And secondly, we've had betas several times where the feeling is really better. And ultimately, by deploying patches, Electronic Arts ends up breaking everything they did that was cool. So yeah, we're a little skeptical about that. We'll see. I don't want to sound bitter, but we know Electronic Arts. Afterwards, for the technical side, we're going to stick with a small annual evolution. The player modeling is a little better, and we have a day-night cycle that will be felt in late afternoon matches, and it will end almost at night for the second half. So for now, if I have to give an opinion on the new features and what we played, yes, it's true. It's off to a good start. No major overhauls, but new features and small improvements that go in the right direction. Now we'll wait for the final version to fully express ourselves, and as you know, we'll be offering a full review, so don't hesitate to subscribe. I'll end this video with all the details. Jude Bellingham is featured on the cover, wearing his Real Madrid jersey, which was taken last April at Casico. He thus becomes the youngest player to have the honor of appearing on the cover of an Electronic Arts game. The Ultimate Edition features Zidane, Beckham, and all the others you see currently. The release date is known. It will be September 27th on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Switch. The Ultimate Edition will allow you to play it a week early, starting September 20th. The same goes for EA Play members, who will be able to play for about 10 hours on that date. And in the Ultimate, we also have various bonuses that you're currently seeing on screen. So if you ever want to pre-order, I'll put the links in the description. Feel free to do so. It supports the channel, so thank you very much. And if you want to support the channel, you can also post a little comment. Tell me what you think, and do you have any particular expectations for this new episode? Anyway, I'll see you soon. Take care, have fun, and ciao everyone.